mom, and I want you to learn harder.
But mom, I want to challenge myself. Last, it seems like
Wow, so impressive. His mom must be proud of him.
Mom, I got an A on the annual test. You see?
A, really? You can achieve 8.5 if you're more careful. How can you apply to study abroad if you keep careless? You make grammatical mistake again on your writing session, didn't you?
I try my utmost, mom. I think I can learn a lot of things after the course. And my dream major is marketing. I think the result is acceptable, mom.
No, English is an international language, and people will judge you through your IELTS scores. Your cousins, look, he has just received his 9 result last month and has studied abroad in Cambridge University. Your cousin is a careful person in everything he does, and you should learn him about that.
Mom, he's majoring in linguistics.
Don't talk back to me. I'm your mom, and I want you to learn harder.
Okay, mom. Yes.
Look at your attitude.
Why can mom say that I try so hard? Always compare myself to my cousin when his major is completely different from mine. Surely all parents in Vietnam are like that. Hoping that life will be better when I study abroad. And I definitely achieve the American dream.
A few weeks more, you're gonna be studying abroad. And remember to take care of yourself and study hard there.
Yes, mom.
What do you plan to do after finishing school?
I think I will stay in America to work that. I like to challenge myself in a dynamic and competitive environments.
It sounds great. However, there's no guarantee of a stable life in America, From living standard to careers. You're an international student, so it is difficult for you to have a stable job in America.
But there have been many people who gone over there and they are really successful in their field, especially for the marketing field. And I think this is my target for my future job.
Well, to do it, you need to be outstanding, and I think that you're not suitable for living abroad. So you just need to finish your study in America and then return to Vietnam to work. Alright? And when you mature enough, you can get married and have a stable life here.
But mom, I want to challenge myself with an active environment like America.
But what is the success percentage? You don't know, right? So living far away from your family, how can we take care of you and help you with some unpleasant situation?
In life, you have to make a way out for yourself, son. If nothing guarantees the stability, don't try to do it.
Stability? Don't people dare to challenge new things?
Hello, I'm Henry. Nice to meet you.
I'm Mary. Nice to meet you. Where is this accent from? It sounds like he's an Asian.
I'm from Vietnam and I'm a new student. Hope that we be good friends.
Okay, fine.
Good morning, class. Today we're going to talk about social marketing theory. The theory underlying the discipline of social marketing is to induce voluntary change, exploring ideas or lifestyle changes that benefit a target audience, society in general.
I have to concentrate on
Basic
this.
marketing. To
I will
promote
tell you.
products, there are four initial Ps to consider. What are they? Product.
So, how about your new friends?
Huh? Oh,
Guy.
this me? I think friend or acquaintance is more proper because it takes time to make friends with the group.
I think you guys talk too much.
I don't know why he didn't ask the professor to repeat directly. That he kept asking me was a little bit annoying because I also need to focus on my lesson.
Good luck.
I thought of a rosy life in America, but it was completely opposite. I'm sick of fast food here. Every day my meals revolve around cereal, sandwiches, hamburgers, or canned food. I'm so miss Vietnamese cuisine and cozy meals with my family. My dad was right. Living costs are one of the considerable difficulties when I live in the US. Some American norms are freaking me out. Specifically, the general rule about tipping in a coffee shop in the US is about 15 or 20% of the bill value. What's more, life here is much more rushed. People seem to self-independent. Why is here everything so different from Vietnam? I'm so stressed. How can I get through this?
All right. And now, to practice the knowledge that we have just learned, I'll give you, every one of you, an assignment. And the assignment is to promote an application that has the potential to develop in the future. And this time, have to work in groups. I will assign the groups randomly.
Group work again? Then I have to be more careful.
Are you ready? Three of you will form one.
Uh, yes, sir.
Okay, so group work, I have to remain calm.
Group work. Oh, okay. So for this assignment, have you got anything in mind? Okay. So how about you?
So let me think.
It's really hard, right?
Hey, hey,
Huh?
I don't know what you think, but I'm just caught up with a really cool one.
What's it?
We're gonna target a dating app.
Ooh,
Sounds cool, right?
yeah, it's so crazy. And I guess we're gonna talk about the use of dating app nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
And it's come on purpose and it's client A to consider the future promotion.
Full of
Mhm.
potential, right?
Yeah, but how about our target customers?
What do you mean?
You know, there are many other dating apps, so we need to make sure we provide something different.
I see. Hmm. Have you got any plans yet?
Well, in my opinion, we should provide an app for people whose purposes are they to marry.
That's all.
Yes.
How about other relationships like close friends, situationship, or even friends with benefits?
Oh, I don't think it's a good idea. Our application is dating, which means date to marry.
But you're limiting the target clients. We are marketers, so we're supposed to take a full up range of possibilities and profits from the market. Dating doesn't always go along with marriage.
I see eye to eye with Mary.
Um, but we should prioritize the quality of the clients rather than the number. That we are connecting with clients wanting to date to marry can limit the risks in terms of emotional, finance, and time to the greatest extent.
All right. I think we will get nowhere if this continues in this way. So we have to seek some advice from our professor.
Yeah,
Like
I
at
think
the
so.
yeah, at the end of the class.
But for what, bro? We should solve the problem ourselves, and we shouldn't ask him for help. We might annoy him.
Hmm, weird. So, can you think of any better solutions than calling for professional help? We are learning, so we need to ask them.
No, I won't do so.
Hmm, you have to.
All right, class. It seems like you already have very exciting conversation with each other. And I hope to see the most wonderful performances from you all.
Okay, our class is ended. We have to ask him about our problem. Okay? Come on.
Okay.
Come on, bro.
Oh, okay, sir. We encounter a big problem.
I see. You guys are all correct. So why don't you combine your suggestion instead of insisting on your own?
Um, yes, sir. I got it.
He hasn't said anything. The problem hasn't been solved.
But it means that we have to tackle it ourselves. And I think he's gonna be on fire if we continue asking him.
No,
Yeah,
we need to ask. We need to seek the solution. Okay, so sir, well, the only way I can see is to separate this crap based on the purposes of the user. What do you think?
Well, from my perspective, you can create the two servers for this app based on the country and to provide the service. For example, you're from Vietnam, so you can promote holidays for marriage for Vietnamese customers. And for American customers, you can promote other kinds of relationships. So what do you think?
I totally agree with you. And I think that's enough. And it's finish our assignment. No need to ask more.
No, I feel like I can't relate to your thinking. I think my point of view is very good. There's no need to separate. I would like to work alone, sir.
You don't want to work with me?
No.
Wait, why should you guys argue? You should bear in mind that you come from different cultures and we should respect and understand each other. If the uncertainty or chaos is managed with an open minded attitude, so team members can come up with a synergistic perspective.
A synergistic perspective?
I know your problem. Sit down and I will tell you. Henry, you're from Vietnam. And Paul and Mary, you're from America. The conflicts of your group stem from cultural differences. To communicate adaptively with culturally different others, we must stimulate the intercultural communication process. Identifying cultural and personal value differences provides us with a map to understand why people behave the way they do in a new cultural setting. To understand various communication patterns in a culture, we must understand the deep rooted cultural values that give meaning to such patterns. When it comes to identity, American value pattern tends towards the I identity end of the spectrum. Meanwhile, Vietnamese value pattern tends toward the collectivist or we identity end of the spectrum. The way you use the pronouns I and we also show that. At school, the person who is bound to be individualistic prefers individual competition to teamwork. He follows the direct communication with such commands or short phrases like, come on, or that's all. So don't be offended by your partner.
So that's why you told me to study with you in the library. And usually you use the phrase like I think or formal structure due to indirect communication patterns, right?
Oh.
With regard to power, American value pattern tends toward the small power distant pole, while Vietnamese value pattern tends toward the large power distant pole. People in the small power distant cultures tend to value equal power distributions, equal rights and relations, and equitable rewards and punishments on the basis of performance. People in the large power distant cultures tend to accept unequal power distributions, hierarchical rights, asymmetrical role relations, and rewards and punishments based on the age, rank, status, title, and seniority. For example, an American professional like me will be comfortable with informal discussion with students in the classroom environment. So don't hesitate to ask.
Oh, now I understand the reason why you don't dare to ask the professor directly. Mm, you always follow the instructions from him.
Maybe you're an obedient child, right?
Yeah, I should obey my parents as well as my older people because they write and can give us helpful guidance.
Mm-hmm.
About uncertainty. American value pattern tends toward the weak end of the uncertainty avoidance continent, while Vietnamese value pattern tends toward the strong end of the uncertainty avoidance continent. Weak or low uncertainty avoidance cultures encourage risk-taking and conflict approaching modes. Strong or high uncertainty avoidance cultures prefer clear procedures and conflict avoidance behaviors. In the USA, there's a greater tolerance of innovative ideas and behaviors, so conflict is also viewed as a natural part of organizational productivity.
Oh, stability that my parents mentioned.
Mm, you use the informal communications to avoid the conflict, right? So you don't have to do that because conflict is somehow positive if you think in a bright side.
Yeah.
That's right. A greater variety of viewpoints brought to bear on the issues, a higher level of critical analysis of alternatives. Also, the term synergistic perspective, I told you, means combining the best of all cultural approaches in solving the problems.
I know why you use the notion of relationship in the traditional way is that date to marry.
Oh.
Well, back to your topic, dating app. Due to those different cultural value patterns I have mentioned, the notion of relationship is also different. In fact, individuals in the United States have different beliefs about romantic relationships, and these different ideas suggest how different stages of relational initiation, maintenance, and termination play a critical role in intimate interpersonal relationships based on love styles. Poe's view really represents the ideal in individualistic cultures, and people typically want to fall in love which sometimes involve intense dating procedures, and then either get married or move on to another dating partner, or they become soulmates or even in situationship. Henry's view on love is more pragmatic. So people typically seriously date to marry or prefer to get married and then take time to fall in love. But the differences between two cultures or viewpoints are not the biggest problem for your group. The biggest one is that you're ethnocentric. You view your own culture as superior to other cultures and thus to perceive your way of life as the most reasonable and proper. As a result, you expected that all other groups should follow your way of living and behaving, which led to the conflicts.
But, Sarisa, what should we do to solve the problem?
To start off, to be a flexible intercultural communicator at the values at the clarification level. Here are some recommended guidelines and skills. When entering a new culture, learn to practice the mindful ODIS method. The mindful ODIS method refers to mindful observation, description, interpretation, and suspending ethnocentric evaluations. Are the terms quite indigestible to you all? Let me just simplify the whole systematic approach, my dear. Now, let's begin with observe. Observe is a very common word that describes an action we do every single day with our visions. What to observe and why should we observe things? Very simple. How can we recognize what's going wrong? What should be corrected? If we keep our eyes closed and plead ignorance when it comes to our own cultural sufferings. Never be lured into thinking only what comes from people verbal communication is worth attention. Non-verbal signals, ranging from body language to facial expression, gesture, or posture, also matter during any conversations. All right, observation is a must, but is that enough for a successful entry into a new culture? Have you ever experienced any situation in which you are perfectly aware of the status quo, but struggle to find the most appropriate word to verbally present it? More often than not, haven't you? My advice for you is to find a proper verbal description for whatever phenomena that you can observe, mentally or even orally, when you are asked by the professor, for example. Remember, the description that you should make is nothing more than a mere literal description. I mean, without evaluative remarks. Let's say, in your context, Paul's and Mary's reaction to Henry's suggested ideas for the group project didn't match this requirement. So instead of saying, your ideas are so weird, you should have identified exactly what differences lie between you and Harry. You're right. The statement should have been like, Henry holds a rather close perspective on dating, or Henry prefers not to seek help from other people and rely on his own resources. Similarly, Henry should have looked at Paul's and Mary's viewpoints with a straightforward attitude, like, my American friends are really comfortable with an open perspective on dating and asking for support. Now, what's next?
Interpretation, sir.
Yeah, you're right. We are so near to the ultimate destination of the journey to become culturally competent. It's time to come up with as many ways to interpret certain described behaviors as possible. Specifically, you may need to pose several questions about what drives those behaviors. For example, in your case, Paul and Mary could have thought that Henry would just display his conventional opinions about only for marriage dating as a token of a typical member of the Asian community. Or simply, it's because he used to have unpleasant experiences with queer-queen relationship via dating apps. The possibilities are boundless, so try not to look at things from a uni-faceted perspective. Once interpreting behaviors in multiple ways, I guess it's time to confront each interpretation with an open-minded attitude. Or let's say we are ready to suspend our ethnocentric evaluation. Don't hesitate to express your preferences frankly, even when you are not really at ease to observe those behaviors with such interpretation. Remember, you have every right to admit that it's not easy for you to adopt a certain perspective. Henry, do you get what I mean?
Well, sir, it's totally okay to say something like, I'm not in favor of an open day with no commitment at all. As I grew up in a society where such a mindset is considered irresponsible and unhealthy, carefree. Is that what you mean?
Sure, Henry. Now, I believe that you all have got the key concept of OTIS, haven't you? Any other questions?
Thanks to the cultural values, I can also understand some habits and norms here. For example, Americans prefer eating fast food due to the fast pace and dynamic lifestyle. Or people use tipping as a means to buy food approval and reduce inequality between themselves and those serving them.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I'm so sorry for being kind of rude to you.
So I think that's okay. We're friends.
Yeah, here.
Yes.
Anyway, we still have time for this promotion topic, so I think we should have the others contact to discuss further.
Mm,
Okay?
yes.
Don't worry. We will help you to integrate into the American life.
Mhm.
Yay.
Yes. But anyway, so thank you so much, sir. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank
So, where will you go on holiday, Henry?
I will be back my home in Vietnam.
You're a true collectivist.
So don't worry, I will be back to America to work and study.
Uh-huh.
Oh.
It's cute, right? Oh my god, my son is now.
Dad, Mom. Mom, Dad, I miss you so much, Mom.
How's you doing?
I'm doing great, Mom. How are you?
We fine, right? But how was your study?
Mom, I get a fairly good last semester. Um, this may upset you, but Mom, I can learn a lot of things during the time I'm in America, such as time management, financial management, a lot of things that really useful for my life, and especially for intercultural communication, thanks to my dedicated professor. Okay, and I can adapt well the life in America, yeah, and be good or be better in the future. And now, currently, I'm a culturally competent person. So trust me, Mom, I can do everything, and I can go back to Vietnam to see you and my dad.
But
That's okay. Let's let him give it a try. He's our son. We should believe in him.
Yes, Mom, I love you.
we love you.
An intercultural life is a creative life that demands playfulness and mindfulness in transforming one's intercultural journey into a discovery process. To engage in dynamic flexibility, we must be simultaneously adaptive and creative in synchronizing our words, movements, and breath with the words, movement, and breath of the culturally dissimilar others. Dynamic flexibility also calls for our adventurous spirits and risk-taking abilities in reaching out to communicate respectfully with culturally dissimilar others.
He said one day you'll leave this world behind, so live a life you will remember. My father told me when I was just a child, these are the nights that never die. And my father told me these are the nights that never die. And my father told me